We need medicine to survive, but we also need an explanation for the purpose of life. What is the purpose of medicine when we don't know the value of a person's life? Hello, people. I'm a person, and today I'll be talking about Radhe and how it discusses the argument between science and religion. The purpose of this video is to show a different perspective to one of my favorite movies that released this year. I found this movie to be misunderstood by critics and viewers as being a pan-Indian movie with nothing to offer. While I respect those that dislike the movie, I would disagree with labeling the movie as just a movie because, as you approach any art form, art is subjective. While you may not like one movie, others may enjoy that movie. Which is why I made this video to show a different perspective of a movie by showing how it communicates on the arguments of over science and religion. As you see, I had I had experience of copyrights during my time on YouTube, so I'll be using PowerPoint to explain my reasoning. Before I go on, I want to make a couple disclaimers. First, I do not have a background in religion or science. I'm an accounting major, completely off the radar. However, I have taken an intro to religion class in my university, so I have some idea of how religion plays a role in our daily lives and why we follow it. Also in class we touched on how science and religion play a role today, which I will be touching on that in the video. And nevertheless, I still advise you to do your own research and reach out to experts if who know more about this topic. I will also be sending this video to my professor and let you know in the comments if I have made any mistakes. Second, this video is not meant to change anyone's opinion on the movie. This is just a personal analysis of my experience watching the movie. So do not send any hate comments to anyone. Without further ado, let's get started. So, what are the definitions of a religion and a science? At first, it may sound easy to differentiate the two. Religion deals with God and science deals with experience. But when you actually dig deep into the two terms seem to sink in with one another. Many philosophers have a different interpretation of religion. I'll leave a set of definitions below. My personal interpretation of religion is believing in a certain person or power. While this definition is simple, the definition itself is also not the best one to go off of, as it does not include religions that believe in multiple gods and elements that are in a religion, such as symbols and values. One of the biggest reasons people join a religion is to find a reasoning for life. Each religion discusses the purpose of life and how we should live it. Science is the understanding of the natural world through observing and experiments. We see this in biology, chemistry, and physics, each one making a hypothesis based on their surroundings and testing it. While this may sound like a set definition to differentiate the two, remember that many religions also observe their surroundings to understand the world too. For example, Hinduism and Jainism do not recommend followers to eat meat, as taking away an animal's life is similar to as taking away a human's life too. And biologists who would not really recommend or will not really tell people to eat or not eat meat would agree that we are also kind of like animals too. So in some way, religion can fit in a science definition. So in that case, what is the real problem? There might have been major arguments before. One of the biggest cases that dealt with religion and science was the Scopes monkey trial. This trial focused on human evolution and if it should have been taught in schools. When Charles Darwin was sent to the Galapagos Islands, he was studying the evolution of how birds' beaks changed over time. This observation later brought up idea that we humans actually originated by apes. This of course did not go well with the fundamentalists or church that believed that God created humans and we should not be compared to animals. This led to the passing of the Butler's Act, which prohibits the teaching of evolution. Now, buddy, you may be asking, didn't you just say that some religions see people as animals? With that, I say, yes, but not all religions see the same thing. Just like how biologists study life and chemists study chemicals and atoms, some same could be said about Christianity and Hinduism. Not all religions follow the same idea. Back to the court case. So John Scopes, a teacher in Tennessee, was teaching his students evolution. This did not go well for the state since the Butler's Act was passed by a representative in Tennessee. There's a lot of coverage of the case as it involves schools and the Butler's Act. The court did not rule in favor of Scopes, who was forced to pay a $100 fine. The court ruled that Scopes has violated the U.S. law and the Constitution for freedom of speech. After the ruling, Tennessee, yes, Tennessee, has been fighting to overturn the Scopes ruling. Now they didn't want to overturn it because they changed their mind last minute. No, they didn't like that Scopes' fine was given by the judge who was conducting the case and should have been given by the jury. It took 40 years for Tennessee to repeal the Butler's Act and also became the first state allowing all teachings of Genesis and evolution to be given. But with a catch, evolution should be taught as a theory in schools and not as a fact. After the Scopes case, more cases were popping up over the teachings of evolution. Epperson v. Arkansas struck down in Arkansas's law banning the teaching of evolution, only for the ruling to be struck down again by McLean McLean v. Arkansas's Board of Education. Another case, Edward v. Allegard, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, which was another Supreme Court case, ruled that Louisiana's law of requiring public school teaching of both the creation and humans at the same time, creation of humans and evolution was unconstitutional. So as you have seen, the court has been conflicting answers on whether to consider science lessons in school or not. Not all states seem to agree on whether to allow both religion and science teachings in school, which leads to our current culture. Similar to how evolution was a huge debate back then, today we see something similar among the religious and science communities over the use of vaccines. Many religious communities have refused to take the vaccine as they believe they would want their death to be natural, or they find that putting a substance in their body would make them impure. Many pharmacists and doctors would argue over them that getting a vaccine can help the community thrive. While both points are valid, the argument with the two still continues. In fact, sometimes the reasoning behind the vaccines gets blurred by other findings. Those who are vaccinated are still getting sick from the virus and in some cases have died, while those who refuse to get the vaccine are healthy and are still getting fired from their jobs and not allowed to attend public ceremonies. This leads to a mess as no one knows what is going on. No one knows who to trust or who to ignore. Verbally and online arguments continue, with each side saying the other side is wrong. Each side comes to the table to taste their food, only to go into the trash by the other side. Governments get involved, and still everyone is conflicted. So what side is right and what side is wrong? This is where Radhe comes in. Radhe is about two outgoing people who assume they know where their life is heading. However, after being together for some time, they start to realize that they have more control of their life than they thought they have. The movie takes place in 1778 in Italy. This is around the time where science technology was booming and spiritual reading was vibing. We are first introduced to Vikramaditya, a palmist who believes his predictions is accurate all the time. Vikram reads his own palm and knows and how he's going to die. So he travels around and hangs out with people. He avoids making lasting connections with these people as he fears he will lose those once he dies. I heard reviews that he is supposed to be a man of mysteries, but I don't think that's what he really is. The opening song shows him living an adventurous life, trying out different sports, and being carefree, compared to the previous scene where he was with Indira Gandhi. It's only when he reads people's hands he is serious. The reason for his seriousness is that he does not enjoy telling people their end goals, as they don't end well. You see this when he is telling Aden, Jagapati Babu's character, and Tara that they will not be able to achieve their goals. You see that he cares for people who don't have their desired endings when he tries to save the train from crashing. When he fails to save the train, he admits that his life is written in his palm and will have to die soon. To push off his feelings of loss, he makes jokes about death and has flirtatious relationship with people. We then introduce to Prema, an inspiring doctor who has a tumor in her head. Prema has a similar stance as Vikram. She assumes she is going to die soon, so she does not make connections. She hangs out with her friends who are in the same field as her, since they know what she's going through, but has trouble hanging out with people outside her field, like the ones she stumbles upon in her introduction scene. It's only until she meets Vikram where she finds out she does have a longer life than she expected. When Vikram tells her that she will be having a family and will be making a difference in the long run, she is shocked and unable to process such emotions, as no one has ever given her hope. Of course, her uncle does not agree with Vikram, as he believes that science is always right. If science has not found a cure, then there is no cure. But as we have seen, science can be unpredictable. For instance, no one expected to find a vaccine for the virus. We all thought that when the pandemic came, we thought that we would be stuck at our homes forever. Luckily, a vaccine came, and things are slowly coming back to normal. Prema's uncle had to learn this the hard way when he gave Vikram the hands of dead patients and asked him to predict their deaths. When Vikram correctly answers how each patient dies, her uncle realizes that Vikram might be right. It's later that he finds that a cure has been found. How the cure was found at the right moment cannot be explained, but as her uncle learns, life is unpredictable and things pop out for no reason. With her uncle realizing this, he allows Prema to go out more. This leads her to explore more and interact with more people outside her friends and family members. She hangs out with Vikram. She hangs out in Vikram's house and attends dance ceremonies. Prema begins to openly express her happiness, whereas before she only expressed her happiness when she was alone. It's when Prema feels the need of hope she begins to open herself among people. For the case of Vikramaditya, when he learns about Prema's tumor, he becomes very demanding, arguing with her uncle that she will have a long life. This is the first time he has given someone such good news about their future, and he does not want to end it as a tragedy. As he was fighting for Prema, he begins to develop real feelings for her. This bothers him, as he will be dying soon and does not want to be with someone he is going to lose. This leads him to leave her and move to Rome with his mother. In Rome, he stumbles upon Tara, who he predicted will not be in archery. Tara appears with a missing arm from the train accident and her archery equipment. Tara hands him her sleeve and asks him to predict the future, emphasizing the flaws in his practice. Just because you don't have a hand does not mean you don't have a life. Just because Vikram knows how and when he's going to die does not mean he is going to die. As his guru tells him, not everyone follows the path they are given. People can create their own path, which is what Prema does when she plans her own death, only to get into an accident right after. Vikram realizes that he can change his own path in his life. He promises Prema through the phone that he is going to live, and he will come back for her. His motivations to live leads him to catch the ship and fight through the Swami. While physically not possible, Vikram does this because he knows that the path written on his hand can be altered by him. Which leads to the next topic, jellyfish. So when the ship sinks, Vikram gets hit on the head and drowns into the ocean. He presumably died until jellyfish started to float around him. I did some research on jellyfish and found that the jellyfish shown in the movie are called moon jellyfish. While these jellyfish do not really bring people back to life, they can regenerate any lost body part. This is how Vikram is like when he walks into the hospital. Whenever he got injured, he'll walk in the hospital casually because he knows he will be fine after the operation. At the resolution, we see Vikram walking in the hospital with deep scars all over his body from the shipwreck. His action shows to Prema that he, not his future, has control over his life, and he will always be there for her. Another point I want to make about the ending is the medicine box in the ocean. When the medicine box begins to float up to the surface, Vikram holds onto the box to reach to safety. Him holding the medicine box answers the question I brought up from the beginning. What side is right and what side is wrong? Is religion right or is science right? The answer is both are right. We need both science and religion. We need science to help us understand our surroundings, and we need religion to give a reason to live. We need medicine to survive, but we also need an explanation for the purpose of life. What is the purpose of medicine when we don't know the value of a person's life? Like Vikram and Prema learns this from each other. They gave each other hope and reality, and we all need these two ideas. We need to know that we are in control of how things are going, and if we can bring ourselves up. I want to end this video with this quote that came up during the promotions for Radhe Shaym. You don't fall in love, you rise in love. I feel like this quote really summarizes the points I made in the video. When you realize who you love, you begin to grow out of your initial form and start to expand your perspective of life. When Prema meets Vikram, she understands the power of hope. When Vikram meets Prema, he learns that people can make their own choices in life. So that is all I would love to say. I can keep going on what makes this movie so special to me. I can keep talking about the train scenes or the roles of Jagapati Babu, but then this video would get too long. Let me know if you want to hear about any movies that you felt are misunderstood or you love for a particular reason. That's all I have for today. See you soon and have a great day.